Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Araceli. I am a hot mess right now, but with good reason. I have been working on this little project pretty much all day long. So I went to Joann's and I bought like, I think it was about $50 and $60 worth of materials that are pretty much making a lot of things for me. I bought four yards of this and it was like either $2.49 or $2.79 a yard. I used about 3 yards of it. So what's that? 2, 4, 6, let's just say like $7 for what I used. And then the batting, I got 2 yards for $4 each. On top of that, I got 20% off. So I can't math right now. I used maybe like 1.5 yards of the batting. And keep in mind, the batting comes in like a bigger cut than the fabric. So I'm just gonna say $10 because I really can't math. I think either $10 or less on this project. I'm gonna show you guys just a few little examples of the bumpers that I was looking at as far as purchasing for the crib. And I'm really glad I did it because I made these at a fraction of the cost. I made it was with my own 2 hands and I actually really love the print. Also really happy that I didn't spend all that money on it either. Right here, I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to measure. So I'm just going to take my measuring tape and basically I'm measuring from one inner corner of the crib to the other. So it's just right there. So that looks like that's 52 inches. And then on this end, from here to there, it's about 27.5. Okay, so right now I'm gonna take my fabric. I'm gonna go ahead and take my fabric cutters. Basically what I'm gonna do is just take the fabric and stretch it out all the way. So I need 52 inches long, but I'm gonna cut out 53 just to give it some seam allowance. So I'm gonna find the 53, which is right there. And I'm careful with these because they're sharp. And so I'm just going to go ahead and start cutting. Now I'm going to cut my other piece, which is the one that's going to go on the sides. And I need 27.5. So I'm going to cut 28.5 just to give me that seam allowance. It comes folded when you buy it by the yard. And basically what I'm going to do is just cut all along that fold, that original fold, and then I'm gonna fold it in half again and then cut along that fold. We're looking at about 11 inches and then take some seam allowance, so we're gonna be looking at about 10.5 inches, which is a good height. Basically this is gonna give me 2 sets, so I'm gonna have 4 pieces on here. Alright, and since it already has that crease, I know exactly where to cut. So I'm just going to take my fabric scissors and carefully cut all the way through. So now that that's cut, I'm going to fold that in half again and then try to crease it as much as I can. Okay, so once that's creased, I'll go ahead and take my scissors and gently and carefully cut all the way across again. And this is basically the step that I'm going to take for all of my pieces, including the longer ones. So just for the sake of saving time, I'm only going to show you this one process here, okay? Okay, now I'm going to cut my batting here. This one comes doubled up as well, so I'm just going to cut it like that as one piece. This is going to be the next step that I'm going to take. For every set of fabric that I cut, I'm just going to start pinning, and then I'm going to cut any excess off. That way I don't have to mess around with it too much while I'm sewing. I have 2 of my pieces all pinned, end pieces. Now that this is all together, I'm gonna bring my sewing machine over here. I'm just gonna sew right along. And I'm gonna give it a 1/4 inch seam. All right, that is all set. So as you can see, I'm gonna cut off any excess thread here. You can see the stitch all the way along. And the same over here. So now that I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this. I'm gonna straighten it out. All right, not too cushy, but it'll do the trick. And so basically I'm just gonna kind of press on it to kind of make that seam on there. All 4 of my pieces are sewed up. Now what I'm gonna do is take a couple of the pieces. So I'm gonna take the really long piece and then one of the short side pieces. I'm gonna go ahead and sew it together. All right, so if things didn't go wrong, it wouldn't be normal in this place. Look at what just happened. My fabric was too thick and my needle just broke, and this is the only one I had, so I have to go out and buy a new one before I can finish my project. All right, hey, my needle's back, yay! So after a much unexpected bump there, I'm back. I'm gonna go ahead and start sewing the ends together to create the corners. And so I'm giving it about 1/2 inch or so of seam allowance, and I'm going to do that on each corner. I wasn't really sure how I wanted to fix this little problem right here, and before my needle broke, I was sewing it flat like that and then just cutting off any excess. So I'm just gonna go on it again and just put another stitch down like that. And I already finished one. So it's not perfect or anything. You can't see too much of that batting on there, but once you turn it around, it has that cool little edge right there. That goes like right in that corner. Okay, so that's on there, and as you can see, it's very slouchy. Basically, I'm just gonna mark the spots where I'm gonna put the ties. So that way, once they're sewed, they'll go around here, and they will be nice and tight on there, so it's not as slouchy as it is right now. Okay, so from that same fabric, I went ahead and cut 2.5 inch strips. And now, as you can see, they're still stacked, and when you open it, they're really long, so I wanted to keep them that long. I'm just gonna go ahead and fold it. Once I sew all of these, I'll show you how I sew them onto the bumper. And again, I just sewed them, turn them inside out or outside in, inside out, whatever. And then I just put a little seam on there. I'm gonna take them and sew them on to my bumper. And I made a little mark, but because I want to make sure that I get it evenly on every single one, let's see, I'm gonna be doing about 1.5. So at the 1.5 mark, and then I'm gonna go ahead and fold these in half, just so I know that I have like the same amount of fabric going each way. And I'm just gonna go ahead and sew it right there. All right, I am all done. All right, so that's it, you guys. So I just ended up putting 6 ties on this. I didn't do bottom ones just because the top ones will hold just fine. And then the bottom piece is kind of tucked in between the crib and the mattress. It's a little tight in there, that way it doesn't like move around and stuff. But as you can see, here are my little bows, and I really love this print. I think it looks really nice. And again, I'm running out of breath here, but I'm all done. So there's one DIY down and more to go. Alright you guys, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit time consuming and in parts. It really is not difficult, especially if you're like a seasoned sewer or whatever. I taught myself how to sew, and so I'm still learning like different methods of doing it, but if it was easy for me, I'm sure it'll be easy for any of you if you want to give it a shot. If not, I hope you just at least enjoyed watching my shenanigans. So coming up next after this DIY is gonna be one of the final touches for the crib, and then it'll be a while before I do like the actual complete reveal. You can see little tiny bits of it, but not as much. So that's it, you guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments down below, and I'll see you on the next one, okay? Bye!